Okay, so this is just going to be a guide to pulling Mara all in one go. This is a strat that I've developed using a swiftness potion. So the way most mages do it is they do like an extra loop around the dungeon to make sure they pull absolutely everything. But now we're just going to do it in one go. So right now I'm highlighting some of the items that I use for the run. I use these Hearts of Noxian, which give nature resistance. I also have the Wand and the Grove Keeper's Drape. So that's an extra 35 nature resist. It's pretty helpful. I also have Mark of the Wild buffed on my character for a little bit more resistance. Honestly, if you have 50 to 60 resistance, I would say you're probably fine. But you do want a bit more resistance than you normally would doing the other strat, just because it's a bit harder to kill all of the nature imps reliably. So, also right here I'm highlighting my talents. You want to make sure to have magic absorption. It gives you mana back when you resist a spell. That's why we have the nature resist. You're going to be constantly getting shot by these imps, which are going to refund your mana, so you basically have an unlimited mana pool. So you can blizzard as much as you want. I also have frost warding for some more armor. I do have the armor talent and the arcane tree as well. So I do have pretty solid gear. This is definitely a strat I would say you want decent gear for, or at least a decent amount of health and int. You don't really... You mainly just want health and int. And the armor talents do definitely help in reducing some of the damage you're going to take. So, to start off, this is pretty easy. You just want to wand these worms in like roughly the same spot that I do. You want to make sure to counterspell that one. So now you're just going to run around for a little while. Nothing super exciting. Just make sure to blink occasionally here to keep your distance from the worms. Okay, so here's kind of an important part. I want to ice barrier here, and then I blink. By blinking, so the mobs are gonna like get stuck for a second, and you need to get enough distance between them for them to start going to you again. I don't know exactly why it happens. Maybe it has to do with the terrain in the area. I'm not quite sure. So here you're gonna counterspell this Cavern Lurker, and then you're gonna Nova all these slimes along with the Lurker. So you're going to wand this guy. Get a bit further ahead, wand that guy. Arcane Explosion that pack. Fire Blast that guy. Blink ahead. And you want to wand that guy. So over to the left, you see there's a Barbed Lasher there. I'm actually going to go back a little bit. So this Barbed Lasher right here, it can either be a Barbed Lasher or it can be 3 Constrictor Vines. Now, if there's Constrictor Vines, you want to pull them with your wand. So you want to wand them. That'll get you 3 extra mobs. I mean, it's more XP, and they also have a chance of dropping Edge Masters. And another good thing about them is that they share like aggro with the slimes. So the Constrictor Vines can pull the slimes can pull the Constrictor Vines, right? So we have an issue I don't know why it happens, and I don't know if anybody knows how to completely prevent it, but sometimes these slimes will despawn. I've found by pulling these 3 constrictor vines, if they do spawn, unfortunately it's RNG, so like if it's a barbed lasher, you do not want to pull it. He will stun you from like max range. It's absolutely insane. So you cannot pull these guys at all. They will completely destroy you. But I've found that if you pull the constrictor vines, the slimes tend to despawn less. One time I pulled all the constrictor vines and I had like 20 slimes make it all the way to the end. Like pretty much all of them. So now you want to fire blast that dude. Arcane explosion there. You want to blink right away. It's actually pretty important to blink right away there, so your blink's up on this part. So you want to actually Arcane Explosion these 2 guys, let them, you know, get a little bit closer, and then you're gonna Frost Nova. So here I got the rare spawn Meshlock, so I went a little bit out of the way to get him. So normally I Fire Blast that Lurker, but he'll get chain pulled by the other guys, it's not a problem. You do need to pull this Lurker, however, so you're gonna Fire Blast him, then blink. Wand that Trickster, Cone of Cold this guy, so he doesn't hit you. There's Arcane Explosion these 2 other trees. Counterspell Trickster pack. Gonna drop down, pop your shield again, Fire Blast that tree. Wait a little bit, Nova all of them. Then you want to wand that tree. So my health is a little bit low here. I didn't use my ice barriers super efficiently, and there's a few things I messed up. I think I forgot to blink once, so the pack got a little bit closer to me than it should have, but I'm still okay. But at this point you could have full health if you do it very well. So you're going to Frostbolt those 2 packs, Counterspell the 3rd pack, and then this is where I pop the Swiftness pot, because you have a ton of mobs on you. Insane amount of mobs. So you want to Frost Nova that group there. Then you're gonna Fire Blast that tree. Cone of Cold those 2 guys. Blink. You can pull those 2 guys. I think that group will actually, on the right, get pulled automatically, but... So I'm gonna go Fire Blast that guy as well. I'm gonna Arcane Explosion those imps to pull that satyr. And I'm gonna blink, and then I'm gonna Counterspell that imp pack. So now we've basically pulled everything, but we have mobs right on us. It's very, very sketchy. So we're going to want to use Mage Armor here and Dampen Magic, and then I'm going to Nova there, just to get some mobs a little bit off me. I'm going to blink, and then I'm going to use Blizzard here. So the mobs are a little bit closer than they normally should be at this point. I got hit a little bit there. But you get the idea. So I Frost Nova there just to build some more leeway. And then now we're going to go ahead and Blizzard them here. So this is, like, I've taken way more damage than I should have here. You can get to this point with, like, 70-80% health. This isn't how it's going to go every time. So right here is your chance to bandage. Now, you can see that there's like 5 or 6 enemies here that are super far ahead of the pack. So if something like this happens, what I like to do, just jump, Nova them, and then just toss a Blizzard down when like the pack is getting close. Works pretty well. Then just keep applying your Blizzards. So what you're basically doing here is just kiting them back and forth. So I just noticed my ice barrier went down. You'd probably want an add-on to show you how much health is left on your ice barrier. So right here, my ice barrier broke. I cold snap, just toss out another ice barrier. No problem. So when you jump up and jump back down, you really want to make sure that every enemy is frozen. Because if you know, half the pack isn't frozen, it's going to make it very tricky. So yeah, you basically just jump, you know, back and forth. Just spam your blizzards. And so what you can do with this strategy is, I mean, you can, you know, boost groups. This is like 60 to 100,000 experience an hour. It's pretty insane. People on my server are charging like 6 to 8 gold per run. And you know, people are definitely willing to pay it because the experience is so good, and they can literally just AFK. This is right where the dungeon entrance is, so all they have to do is just enter the dungeon, and then that's it. They get free experience, and they do get like a gold or two back from every run. So right here, I'm just gonna loot. This is just gonna show you guys how long it takes to loot. We're at 9 minutes in. Yeah, you can see I finished looting it like 3 minutes later. So I'm just gonna highlight which enemies are left here. My strat is obviously not perfect, but it's just I just want to show it off because most mages are doing the double loop strat when you can use a swiftness pot, which is 50 silver, and pull everything in one go. So it's just, I personally think it's better to do it this way. So here you can see there's 2 trees left. So I do want to incorporate these 2 trees into the run somehow, but the enemies are so close to you that I don't know. I feel like really the only way you could pull those 2 trees is by wanding them. So I'm not really sure if you have quite enough time, but I think you could make it work. So yeah, right here you can see, I mean, we pulled all of these enemies. There's nothing left. All the enemies in here are dead. Everything in there got killed. I mean, we are basically pulling everything in one go. You know, I mean, we're missing 2 trees, I guess. That's a little bit unfortunate, those 2 trees in that area. But I think you could incorporate them. It's just, I do need to refine the strats a little bit more. And then you have the 1 tree there, of course. There's no way you can really pull that tree. Unless maybe you somehow used 2 swiftness potions, but the cooldowns take so long, I don't really think there's any way to do it. So yeah, and then there's also this tree. So we missed 4 enemies. I don't know, this tree should have been pulled, but for some reason he reset. Sometimes some of those trees here in this pack along this side get reset. I don't quite know why. But yeah, that's the pull basically. I mean, it's a bit sketchy, but I think with some refinement it could be even better. So, yep, there you go.